Alex is trying to call. Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the September 14th Norwalk Public Library Board of Directors meeting. Present, we have Janie Williams, Ralph Bloom, Patsy Brescia, Geraldo Williams, Mary Mann, and Sherelle Harris. Absent are Alex Knopp, Tom Cullen, and Laurel Peterson. In the interest of our guests, I would like to suggest that we have the Libraries Without Border update and the SONA repurposing discussion at the beginning of this meeting. Oh, I guess first I should call to see if there's anyone from the public comments.
Yeah, there are no public comment.
Okay. Move that and then approve the minutes and then go back to my report and the rest of the director's report. Is everybody okay with that?
Good idea.
Okay. So
so I'm off camera. I've not been feeling good for the last couple of weeks. I probably will jump on just so you can see it's me. And then probably jump off. So I love Nina. You always make me feel so good with that big smile and Venetia. So I just want to introduce Nina Stefane and Venetia McGee. They've been working with us from Library Without Borders. Again, Norwalk is one of 6 libraries chosen in Connecticut to be graced with these lovely ladies. They've been wonderful to work with. So they are going to give an update tonight about our communications, and I believe they have a nice presentation for us. So we were very much in sync with a lot of their recommendations. So but without further ado, I'll give you these 2 lovely ladies.
Thanks, Sherelle. I'll just share my screen. We'll quickly go over, as Sherelle shared, some updated data analysis that we've done specific to communications at the Norwalk Public Library and how that fits into the broader project plan. We know we've shared with you all at least a couple of times as a group, and some of you all individually as well, about our work over the last several months. And we just want to share where we are and where we plan to go over the next 6 months. So let me just share my screen here. So just quickly highlighting the overall project plan that we have in place. We built this in coordination with Sherelle and a few other folks on the library staff after we completed our community assessment review. The whole idea is that we didn't want to decide what to do until we had data from the community, hearing from the library team, library patrons, and then community members and community organizations as a whole, to really think about how can we expand the reach of the library. What we found was that there was certainly a gap in awareness in the community, just simply of what Norwalk Public Library has to offer. So the first place that we talked about starting the work with Sherelle was focusing on communications, specifically taking a look at social media, newsletter, and the website, as those are some of the primary ways that the public knows what the library offers. And Venetia is going to share a little bit more about what we found there. And the second thing that we plan to focus on with the information we found from our communications analysis are building strong and strategic community partnerships where we can create some version of access hubs or outposts, some way for community members to more readily access the resources, services, and offerings of the library without necessarily having to go to the library every time. We found in our community assessment review a number of really strong community partners who reach portions of the population that might not be accessing the library yet. And we hope to be able to leverage those relationships to build those access hubs. That's the overview of the project plan for the next 6 months. And we'll share a little bit more about the communications next.
Perfect. So as Nina named, this is what we did in terms of analyzing the main branch and the Sono branch and their communications in social media, newsletter, and website. And this data is from the last year, so it kind of gives us a good context for what's been happening, how things have been communicated to the public in these various different ways. And this is really meant to be a baseline for us to understand what's happening now, how things are being communicated, and who, at least in terms of percentage numbers and reach, is receiving the information about the library. Again, that is all to connect with how we are getting the word out, how people know what the library has to offer, how we build community partnerships, and in what places we do that. So on the left side of the slide, you can see social media, and that's broken down by the main branch, Facebook and Instagram, and the Sono branch, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And one thing we pointed out here is the number of followers in relationship to the population, the percentage of the population. So even our highest reach, which is the main branch's social Facebook, is reaching about 4% of the population. Now, we noted this, Sherelle, of course, not everyone in the population is on social media, meaning babies are part of the population. They're not going to be on these platforms. So, but it does give you a bit of a sense for who would be receiving this communication. This form of communication is a relatively small percentage of the population right there. Just below that, still on social media, these are both for the main branch. You can see the engagement rates, first for Facebook being 0.02%, and then Instagram being 0.21. For Facebook, in terms of having a high engagement, we want that to be between 1% and 5%. So just seeing those numbers, we know that there is a pretty big gap in how people can be engaging in that social media realm. And then for Instagram, high engagement being between 3.5% and 6%. So we just highlight those as a way to see, like, this is where we are right now. This is how many people are engaging with the content that is being put out there in social media. For newsletters, we did a lot of analysis, but some of the highlights here are around the open rate. What is the percentage of people who are opening the newsletter that is being sent? There are about 22,000 followers or subscribers to the newsletter, which is a really great number. But 36.3% on average are opening the newsletter that is being sent to them. So again, baseline and certainly some areas of opportunity to improve in terms of communicating to the public. And then our click to open rate and click rate look like the percentage of people who, once they open the email, the newsletter, are clicking on something in that newsletter. It doesn't mean that there's, people can get content by reading through it, but we want them to be able to be actionable, whether it's going to the website or registering for something. So a variety of things that are often put in the newsletter. So it just gives us a sense for what people are doing once they're in the newsletter. And then on the right is about our analysis of the website. Again, just a snapshot of the work that we did here, but to give us kind of a base for what we're looking at right now with the Norwalk website. And I know you all know this, but the Sono piece is a part of the main branch website. So it's all kind of tied in there in terms of visits and percentages. We know right now that in 2023, there were 160,000 page visits to the site. And that is a little over 90,000 unique visitors visiting the website. So we've got some pretty strong numbers, but what we are a little concerned with is the bounce rate. So this means people go to the website, the homepage, and they don't click anywhere else. Of course, people are receiving information on the homepage. That's certainly important to note, and they may find exactly what they need on the homepage. But that doesn't account for 56% of people who are going there. So just something we want to pay attention to. And all of these data points help us determine a path for increasing communications in these three very different ways. We have an idea about what's happening now, so we can create a plan to move that along. That's okay, Nina, you can go to the next slide.
Anisha, I just do have a question. So with
Yeah.
the newsletter as well, we had talked about the same thing, that basically people are opening it, but not necessarily engaging, and that we
Right.
wanted to increase the engagement. But I don't see this, I see the main branch engagement, but I don't see the Sono, and I know you had discussed Sono engagement.
For social media,
For
you
social
mean?
media. Yeah, the
Yeah.
newsletter and the website are all tied in, but I don't see the Sono engagement that we spoke of.
Yeah, this was certainly just a snapshot of what we talked about, but we can either pull up or just talk about what's happening for the Sono branch. Just give me a sec.
You can pull up the full infographic. As Venetia said, it was just
Perfect.
meant to be a snapshot, but we can certainly show you guys
And
the
it
whole.
doesn't have to be anything elaborate, but it's nice to see the comparison and to go through what we spoke about.
Mhm.
Definitely. Just give me a second here. Any other questions in the meantime while I pull this up?
Yeah, I was wondering on your website visits, because I'll tell you what I do when I go to the website is that I'm searching books, and then you're putting books on hold, or you're looking to see if they're available. And I know that's like not, that's a different part of the site, and I don't even know if it's the same site. Do you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like, is it,
Yeah.
are these numbers all like include all the back end catalog pages, or
What
not?
we can,
Right.
yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Going to a place for looking for books is a separate site. What we can see is the clicks on the homepage versus like, are they going to somewhere else on the site versus going to the catalog? Yeah, of course, that's a really important thing to point out, and something that we understand could give us some different data around the numbers.
I mean, it would only be more, right? I think,
Sure.
because
Yeah.
if we're going back in the different sections. So,
Mm-hmm.
but it's good to see that we have so much engagement on the website and
Yeah, absolutely.
with the newsletters, social,
Mhm.
definitely. See.
Yeah. Lena, can you scroll to the top for the social media piece? So this graph on the top left, where it says just below active platforms, we can see the Sono engagement rates, and they are much higher than the main branch engagement rates on Facebook and Instagram. So Facebook, we're looking at 0.35%, Instagram 0.44%. Again, those are still much lower than the engagement rates that we want for high engagement, but they are higher than what the main branch's engagement rates are. Unique for the Sono branch is the TikTok account. They've only in 2023 posted 5 posts on TikTok, but as you can see here, I have a pretty high engagement rate, which is great. And we talked with Sherelle about the possibility or potential of making TikTok a little more dynamic as it was in years past. Definitely more robust amount of content, but that's slowed down this year for a variety of reasons. But this does kind of lead into our next piece. Part of that reasoning is staff capacity, who is able to create content for all of these platforms. But, and speaking about TikTok specifically, it's a newer platform. And so wanting to have people who are comfortable and trained to create content consistently that is engaging for followers is definitely something that we are going to work towards for ourselves, and then being in that bridge for staff members to make it most sustainable.
So I really enjoy conversation, because without us having a prior conversation, we sort of came to the same conclusion about the intentionality and not just posting just to be posting, but looking at the analytics and also being a little more intentional about what we post, for more engagement.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a huge part. Posting more is not necessarily more in terms of people being able to see it. Right. There are a lot of different social media algorithms that shift what people can see at different times. So that's a huge part of engagement on social media platforms that we have to pay attention to and be really strategic about what is being posted, when it's being posted, and how many things are posted each day, each week, because it does really make a big difference.
Mhm.
And something we hear across libraries all the time is just the frustration that staff feel, particularly in the program domain. I'm telling people about this. Why aren't people coming? And so looking at the data can be really, helpful to a certain extent. Of course, it doesn't change whether or not people are engaging in what you're offering, but it certainly can help break up this idea that if I'm putting it out, it might not be being received. That data helps us understand that maybe not as many people as we want to see it are actually seeing that information. So it can just kind of get us to a starting place of let's be creative about how else we're getting the word out about a program.
Awesome, thank you.
So I can just quickly go over next steps if that's okay, and then
Yeah.
Let's ask a question. With the libraries that you work with, how many of them have like a communications coordinator or somebody, like a dedicated person in the library who works on communications? And what kind of difference do you see with libraries that have it versus don't have it?
Yeah, most of the libraries that we're working with, well, first of all, not all of the libraries we're working with have us doing communications analysis. So we don't know everything about what some of those libraries are doing, but the libraries who are asking us to focus on communications have multiple people who are supporting the communications plan. And sometimes that can lead to just disrupted or inconsistent communications. What I think part of your question is leading me to think about is having a centralized person or two people who hold sort of the reins of communications can be very strong, as opposed to spreading it.
And that's something that we did discuss, is that we do need that person, somebody who's intentional and who has the experience doing that. So we did discuss this when you guys were presenting.
Yeah, this is definitely something that was a part of our conversation with Sherelle. Something that we really want to pay attention to is both staff capacity for being a part of communication, sending out newsletters, determining social media content, things like that, while not spreading it so wide that there isn't a centralized plan. And so without that centralized plan, there can be overposting or oversaturation of newsletters per month, for example. And I think both of those things are something that's happening right now with Norwalk Public Library's communications. And we want to be able to stream that a little bit more. And we have a couple of different next steps that we're building in to support that trajectory.
Thanks.
So yeah, the focus area over the next several months will be, number one, directly supporting this communication strategy. So that will mean we'll play a pretty heavy hand in the next several months in helping to shape what does that content calendar look like? How do we more regularly use the right hashtags and tagging local partners? How do we get more consistent sharing things on stories that other community organizations are doing, kind of pointing people towards the library as this the information hub that it already is, but again, might be a missed opportunity right now if there isn't the direct attention on social media to those kinds of things. So we'll be playing a very active role and then figuring out with Sherelle and perhaps some of you and whoever else is involved in what comes next, thinking about who on staff is really going to have the capacity to take that over in the months ahead. And we can build the training guides. We can provide all the kinds of templates and other things that make that transition smooth and easy. But we'll want to make sure that we're planning for that time. Of course, the idea is to have us be some additional capacity while we build the strategy and then really figure out how it's sustainable for the library over the long haul. And then the second piece, which I mentioned at the top of the call, we're really interested in building out these access points with community partners. Again, those community partners get to be people that help share what the library is doing really widely through their networks. The library becomes not the only place that's amplifying its own offerings, but you hear from other community organizations who have very large population access. And we can figure out really what are the best ways to leverage what the library offers, bringing some of those services and resources to those locations, introducing people to the services and resources in some instances that will get people into the physical library itself. But for other people, it'll just get them accessing online resources, utilizing, checking out books, getting book delivery. You know, there can be any number of things that can happen, but just beginning that relationship with some of those new populations. The intention is to do this with at least 2 community organizations, one relatively near each of the branches, but not too near. So we'll in those offering in those options. And yeah, we have some ideas already from our community assessment review that we're chatting with Sherelle about. And certainly,
you want to get one of the names that you guys were really impressed with?
Yeah, one of the places we think would be a really important partner here would be the Norwalk Housing Authority, given the depth and breadth of who they serve and who they work with, and their interest in this collaboration. They were really supportive around data collection through our community assessment review process, really excited about what the library offers, and have, that's an example of the type of organization that could be a really strong collaborative partner.
That's great.
Thank you guys so much. I'm so excited about this. I think you did a great job, and I really love your recommendations. So I am looking forward to the next 6 months, and I just want to thank you both.
Great. Yeah, we're really excited too. And thank you to all of you for letting us share a little bit today.
Thanks. That was really interesting, really exciting stuff. Good stuff. Thanks, everybody.
Smiling, and have a wonderful evening.
All right. Y'all too.
All right. Bye-bye. Okay. Here's another smiling person, Brianna Dash, and Amanda, who's been laughing at me, and or others. I don't know who else she was laughing at when we were on the phone the other day. So we have some really exciting news. Brianna Dash. Brianna, I don't know if you've ever presented before the board before. I know Amanda has, but either way. So we have Brianna and Amanda from Silver Petrocelli, and they are going to provide us with next steps for the Sono renovation. We are almost there.
All right, Cheryl, do you mind if I step in and start chatting? Okay. Well, good evening, everybody. So basically, we're just trying to give an update on the Sono renovation, and we're just going to go through a couple of items. We are moving in the right direction, and we're going to talk about basically the schedule and just some furniture items that Cheryl just wanted to take a look at as well. So I'm actually going to go ahead and share my screen. Hopefully, I can do this with ease here.
Have we lost Mary? Oh no, there she is. Good. I was like, Mary.
All right. And hopefully you guys can see my screen here. And I'm gonna put this up a little bit. But basically we just wanted to go through the schedule just to see next steps. So we are definitely moving forward. So currently we are working with submittals. So just collecting all the, we like to say the long lead items first. But as you can see with the schedule, you can see that we're going to start at the end of October, and then we will be finishing / closing out through February 13th, 2023. So we are still following that contract agreement for this month. But you can kind of see a little bit more of the little details that go into basically the schedule. We have like I said, we're doing the submittals, we're ordering lighting because those are long lead times. We're going to start going into protection and dust control, remove carpet, install missing window trim. So again, just going down the list, it's just a process of what's going to be taking place throughout these 3 months. So it's definitely some exciting news, and we are looking forward to starting.
I just am noticing you've got all 2023. Don't you need to go into 2024?
Yes, Titan did not recognize the new year.
Yeah,
2023.
I think they want to stay in 2023, apparently. So
yeah, I guess I should.
Patsy, we'll make sure we get that updated. Alrighty, so I am actually, so basically that is everything with the schedule. And I can actually share some insight on what is taking place with the furniture and some insight with lighting. I know Sherelle wanted to share a couple of items that we were finalizing.
Well, I got outvoted on.
And I'm just going to bring up my furniture plan here.
I told them I'm going to have to go to therapy.
Never, Sherelle, never. I'm just gonna maximize that a little bit here. So hopefully you guys can see my screen here. So right now I'm just basically kind of showing the furniture plan. So I'll take it from over here to the right because I believe that's the main entrance where everyone goes to. So just reiterating, we're just updating again those one-to-one replacement for those stacks. I know it's currently maroon, but we're gonna have a nice I'll say a nice modern update with those stacks on each end of those library stacks. We're going to have an interactive kiosk where there is design elements where there's directories, there's going to show where basically what's happening in the library. So that will be showcased on the kiosk. And currently just moving up my screen here, we have this beautiful long reference desk. It is going to be the same kind of configuration as we have now, but definitely updated and better with a nice solid surface and laminate to finish it off. We still have those books for holding. So again, when books are being checked in, we will have that here to the left. We have those adjustable kind of desk here where people will have their desktop, they can come in, they can print, they can do whatever they want, they can research any items that they need to, and it's nice. They're adjustable, they go up and down, flexible. And then just moving more to the welcome lounge area, we have those just mobile chairs going to the right.
I just want to make sure that they know that, I'm sure they surmise, but just so they know directly that the little area where they will be checking for their books, that's ADA compliant, so we don't have to have a desk. If someone wants to stand, it can adjust, for them to stand. And if someone comes in with a wheelchair, we can lower it as well.
Correct. And then just moving up to the welcome lounge area. And I'm sorry, I have some double print here, but we have that relocated kiosk. And I believe that is the laptop kiosk there. And you have a nice eye line just to make sure everyone is cooperating well with those laptops. We also, to the right, we just have this small little lounge area where people can study, kind of converse, have a conversation, do some homework. So we have a nice little intimate setting here. And then I feel like this is the main attraction here. We have the reading area and the computer area. We have those beautiful kind of curved furniture where people can kind of lounge, relax, they can work. And then to the right here, right where the reading area and actually on the computer area here, we have that desk seating, and we have this nice, it actually gives you some privacy as well, because we're going to have like those safety guards up, I'll say decorative safety guards that actually look nice and attractive, but it gives you some privacy. And also, even with COVID still going around, it gives you that protection as well. And again, that privacy will still be on these carrels, these desk carrels, like we said, here and here. And then in the middle here, we have that mobile reference area. So basically, this is going to be the main reference. And then we actually have some mobile shelves here that will actually be able to hold books as well. So basically, just trying to make this area and these other furniture areas a little bit more mobile, just in case you guys have an event, you need to switch it around, change it around. But that is basically the gist of everything. Oh, wait, I'm forgetting two things. Our favorite little items here, which is the DO2, which is, again, it's where you can display magazines, you can lift them up, you can put it down, but it's just going to be a nice display case for everyone to see and interact with. And I believe that was the gist of the furniture plan.
You know what? I didn't ask when we met today, because Mary Mann is on the phone and I don't want to hear her. Do we still have that display area too at the door next to the CERC office?
CERC office. One second. Let me bring up my plan again, Sherelle.
Yeah, you're talking about the built-in millwork?
Mm-hmm.
Correct. That's part of the construction.
Mary, did you hear that? I can't see you, but did you hear that?
Yes, thank you. I heard that.
Okay.
Because I know I was going to hear it if she didn't hear that. So thank you.
You're correct.
And I think we just wanted to share one more thing, which was that some of that lighting display here. So I'm just going to find my screen. Right now it wants to hide on me, apparently. Let's see. Okay, here we are. I'm going to enlarge that. Are you guys able to see my screen a little bit? I'm going to zoom in here.
Yes.
Okay. So this, it actually helps a little bit better because you see the furniture plan with it. This furniture plan was a little outdated. We had to adjust a couple things, but you can kind of see how that reflective ceiling plan, which is basically those nice elements, which is the lighting. So above that S curve, we're gonna have these beautiful kind of S curve lighting that mimics that furniture. You're gonna have that here to the reading room as well. And then we have some nice decorative pendants in the middle here where that entry is, and over in this area. And then in the back area here where the circulation desk and the stacks are, it's just gonna be a nice one-to-one replacement with those linear lights. But definitely these linear lights are gonna be much sleeker and definitely more aesthetically pleasing. But that's basically the gist of the lighting. It's pretty straightforward.
Very nice.
But
And
it is
yesterday with the electrical, we met with Lori Iflin from the library and then Rodney Garcia from the city just to go over the data ports and electricity. So everything is moving forward positively.
Yes, that is correct.
So basically it looks like a November through February timeline.
Yes, that is
sounds good. What kind of are we gonna have a lot of dumpsters around? I was just wondering, like, in terms of, are they gonna be in the back area? Like what how will we be limited? Because I mean, we are still gonna have the downstairs open and the third
Top floor, correct.
top floor
Yeah,
open.
right now, Titan believes that they don't need a full-size dumpster. They think that they can remove all of the trash through a dump truck. So right now, that's the game plan. If for some reason they decide that they need a dumpster, then we decided we would have a quick meeting to designate a couple of parking spots for it. But right now, they don't see the need.
Okay, but well, that would be great.
Awesome, yeah.
That would be really good.
Okay. Well, I want to thank Amanda and Brianna for all of their hard work and for really listening. I'm very impressed. We've had a lot of back and forth, but I just want to thank you both for all of your work.
Not a problem.
Are there any final plans on color fabrics?
They outvoted me, Patsy. That's why I have to go to therapy.
Oh, okay.
Patsy, we did switch a couple of things. I'm trying to see if I actually have that updated PowerPoint here. Let me see. I don't have the carpet, unfortunately, in this updated PowerPoint, Patsy, but I can always send that to you just so you can see it.
Do you have the color swatches that the staff outvoted me on?
Oh, say that again, Sherelle. I'm sorry.
The color the swatches that they chose today.
Oh yes, I do have that. Let me see.
Fabric.
Plot that. So if you can see my screen, yes, Sherelle did get outvoted today with a fabric.
And everybody agreed on this one, so I backed off.
But it's a nice pop of color, so it's gonna work well with the space, definitely. Okay. And Cheryl, I think that was everything that we had today just to discuss and give an overview of the schedule and kind of the furniture.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Any other questions?
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's very exciting.
Your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Looking forward to starting.
Me too.
Have a good night, all.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Night.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so we are going back and going to do the approval of the June 8th and the July 13th meeting minutes. Would someone like to move acceptance of the June 8th?
I'll move.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Oh, there's Tom.
That's Tom.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Great, that passes. Anyone opposed or abstentions? Okay. Now we have the July 13 minutes. I have one edit on this that I'd like to make. Would someone like to move it and then we can do edits? Mary moves. My one edit is that on page 5, it says the motion passed with 5 in favor. It says Brescia, Bloom, Mann, Williams, H. Williams, J. Williams, and I also was in favor. So Moynihan should be added to the in favor. 1 opposed and 1 extension. Okay. And so with that change, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So
Abstain.
then,
One abstention. I wasn't there, so.
okay. So Tom Cullen abstains. And so we've approved the July 13 minutes with that one change. Okay, so I will as part of my president's report, I'd just like to talk about the land acquisition around the library. As you know, on June 27th, the city acquired 3 Belden Avenue for $1.42 million. The Common Council on Tuesday, September 12th, moved to purchase, acquire, or take 0.25 acres of the parking lot at 11 Belden. I want to thank Patsy and Geraldo, who joined me to thank the city for this action on the 12th. I have asked the city about when it plans to close on 3 Belden. So they said they would get back to me on that. And we are now currently leasing 30 spaces in the Eagles lot. Sherelle is going to give us a report of, how the parking, what's happening with parking there in terms of signage and direction in that area. So now I guess the ball is very much in the city's court in terms of working with Jason Milligan, his property. I also want to say that I did contact Jessica over at City Hall, along with Jim Travers, about the Webster lot at Sono. And so what they know the situation that we are interested in acquiring more parking as the parking becomes bigger over there, and would like to have a meeting to talk about that. And so I was thinking that, if Mary and Janie, as our District B representatives, would like to join in a meeting with Jessica, Jim Travers with Parking Authority, and anyone else on the board really who would like to kind of understand the parking situation. They basically said it's not too early but it's not too late. So this is the right time for us to get in front of them and state our desired needs. So Mary, Janie, can I be in touch with you about and
Absolutely. Just let me know when.
okay.
And that's Patsy speaking. If possible, I would like to help with that effort.
Okay. I know that you were involved, before.
Yeah, and initially, and also, the statement, it's not too early and it's not too late. I did go to the first public hearing on the Webster development and articulated for the library that we need that we had to be considered to have available parking allocated within that development. So it's on the record. And so I forgot what the date was, but it was many months ago.
Yep, and we've also sent them a memo.
Yeah, right. And afterwards you followed it up. So we just have to keep articulating our need.
And the last meeting that they had at Sono, I did attend, and so I tag team on what you two began. I also took pictures of their latest development. It's actually really nice, and they identified some areas that we could possibly have parking. I'm looking through so I can. Let's see, do I have it? Yeah. I'll have to send those pictures of their plan.
As we articulate our position, the hearing that they held at the library.
Yeah, they did.
So that just supports the importance of the library as a community center for that area. They were not terribly receptive, I must add.
Well,
but we got to stay with it.
When I spoke to them, but I don't know maybe if they were placating me or not.
Yeah, well, we got to stay with it.
For sure. I found the pictures, so I'll send them.
And then, okay, before I hand it over to Geraldo to talk about the library cafe, I just wanted to get a sense from you. I know there have been a couple of there have been a few members of the library board who've expressed meeting back in person. And I wanted to get a sense of what everybody thought about that. And I can definitely start the process of figuring out how to get us back in person. And if people have any thoughts on that.
I'll jump in. I'm very much in favor in-person meetings.
I'm thinking we should wait until after we see what these COVID numbers are.
Yeah, because
COVID is going up.
Starting up again, because my son had it from his school. He's in the Canaan Country School, in the Canaan Public School, and it's going around. So I think, and then I just heard somebody else got it. So
my daughter has it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so and this area it's a little different, but the numbers we've had already 5 cases in the library. So I'll go with whatever you guys decide, but my recommendation would be to give it a few months just to see where this is going.
I kind of agree with that. Yeah.
For what it's worth,
I'm with Patsy on the in-person meetings.
I'd like to also be in favor of the in-person. When we get around to discussing the addition for the library, that really has to be in person. We need to have architecture in front of us. We have to ask questions. And many of our new members have never seen any of the older plans. So it is important that we do get back at that critical point.
Yeah. But you can also do a hybrid. You can have, if you want to meet in person, you can meet in person. And people who don't feel comfortable doing that, then we can stay on Zoom. I mean,
Jenny,
that can work as well.
If you want Zoom, it's one thing, but to have the person standing in front of you and with the full set of plans on the table, and you can really ask questions when you have the physical evidence in front of you. And for us, it's almost like starting over again. I looked into my file. I couldn't believe it. My first letter on the library extension is over 8 years ago. I couldn't believe the number of years that have gone by and we haven't started yet. So I'm hoping we do get to work with architects and we finally get this accomplished.
So I think that's a good point, but I think it's a little ways off. So for the very near term, I hear I understand about COVID, but I think like maybe after, you know, things start settling down, we at least get to a hybrid situation. For those of us who really like to be in person, feel that that connection is important. So at the very, probably not next month, but sometime soonish. I think I can work with Sherelle to see if we can kind of come up with some hybrid type of situation. I think they're, you know, at least from what I've seen at the Common Council, they're doing hybrid.
Yeah, their facilities are designed for that, and we should have been done by now. We were approved a couple of years ago to work with Black Box to do the same for both of our libraries. There has been a little bit of confusion, so hopefully, I have to find out like what the new plan is or the new timeline anyway. But once that's done, we will have the capability to do the hybrid in both auditoriums.
Okay, so we can send a note to, you know, it's kind of like the squeaky wheel, whoever is pushing a little bit for it. So, okay, so I'm gonna pass it on now to Geraldo, who has been working very hard with Sherelle and a little bit myself on the library cafe project. So Geraldo, are you here?
He's here. He's just unmuted.
Somehow my video disappeared.
Oh yeah, where are you?
I'm up here. You don't see me?
No. We see your name, but we don't see you.
My video disappeared, and I keep playing with this. And I didn't want to fall off to come back on to see what is blocking my video. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. So I'll be in the darkness. Anyhow, you may have gotten a copy of the RFP. We have developed the scope of the RFP and have presented the different issues that we need to go forward with for getting this thing, to get this approved. However, we have one area of discussion that we're going to have to table, and that's specifically with regards to the term of service and the items that the vendor that bids on this will have to provide. There, you know, some opportunity with regards to the items that were used by the previous vendor that we need to look at how we're going to handle that and see if we can incorporate that with the offering that we have. As it stands, as the RFP stands, that it follows the same pattern that we had initially with the original RFP, where the vendors were, or those bidding on the opportunity would identify or would be required to provide different things like the tables, the chairs, you know, the equipment that's used, including the refrigerators. And with our current situation with moving towards expanding the library, we have to be careful that we don't make this thing seem to be something that's not attractive, that those that are bidding on it would figure that they have to make a big investment and they don't know about the long term, because this is a 1 to 2 year opportunity. And, you know, we're looking at what we would do. We're going to have some further discussions with some opportunity with those items that were left behind. And part of that is going to be coordinated with the foundation meeting to look at what's the best way to handle that, and what's the best way to handle even the issue with the lease for those that are bidding on this. But I don't know if you have had the opportunity, instead of me going through this whole thing and tying up the time with that, don't know if anyone has had the opportunity to go through this and have any questions or have any recommendation with regards to the lease or regards to, you know, setting up the operations for the new cafe.
Geraldo, I haven't had an opportunity to study it, but did you consider that the foundation purchase the equipment in order to take the burden of that expense off of anyone?
That's one of the things I've said. We're going to have that discussion in the foundation meeting to look at how we handle this.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, because that is the challenge. That's one of the things we, even as I came on board with this, looked at this and saw that that's an area of risk to the person bidding on this.
Exactly. Yeah.
I see Alex has joined us. Hello. Any other questions, comments?
I'm sorry, Harold. I've been listening on the phone for the whole meeting. Mute. Did you make any comment? I just got home, so I just put on the computer. Did you make any comment about the topic we were emailing about?
We just discussed that. Pat just had a question similar to your question, and what I'd said is that we're going to be looking at how do we deal with requiring the vendors or those bidding on the RFP, having that as a requirement that they would have to provide the items required for the cafe. We have an opportunity to acquire some of the equipment or the items that were left behind by the current or by the initial vendor. And we're going to have a discussion on that in the foundation meeting that follows this. Am I clear enough for you with that, Alex?
Yeah, maybe in the foundation meeting we can discuss why it's a foundation matter and not a library board matter.
Okay. So, and part of the issue is how do we acquire that equipment if we need to, the things that were left behind.
Well, I think the issue in part was that no matter how it's acquired, the extent to which the vendor has to pay for equipment influences how long the vendor needs to operate to recoup those expenses based on the rather limited profit that we imagine gets made in this enterprise. So my concern is that we not make the initial lease period too short that might scare off otherwise qualified vendors who think they can't recoup their investments if they have only a year to do that. So maybe there's some way to think about some way that there is a right of extension as long as the service is sufficient or adequate or something, and that it not be a strict 1-year lease at the which again might scare off qualified vendors. That's my concern.
Yeah, and so essentially what we're looking at is different ways of limiting or minimizing the risk. One included, if the people bidding on this don't have the demands to supply all of that equipment, then that would limit their risk because they wouldn't have that expense also. Right now, as it stands, we specify a lot of things that they have to provide and their initial person had to provide. And it's how can we reduce, what are the different ways we have to reduce or eliminate that expense or that risk to those bidding on the RFP. And I think once you hear the discussion in the foundation meeting, it would be more clear, Alex.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Okay, so let us move along to the next item on our agenda. I think, Sherelle, I'm going to turn it over to you to cover the other couple of things that you have in your section.
All right, so with the library, Parking Lorna basically did the introduction. We are ready to point people to the 30 spaces at the Eagles lot to park. 2 of Cindy's team members, Luis and Nicole, have come up with something with a little flyer in-house. It's an aerial view, but it shows people were parking is, which was really nice. So kudos to Luis and to Nicole, if you're listening. We were able to get everything off of, not that we had a lot, but everything off of Jason Milligan's lot. I teased him and asked him if he was going to hold our things hostage, which, he obviously did not. And so we moved our truck. Our truck is now back on the library's portion of the lot, and then we moved the container. And I want to give a shout out to Tom Cullen and his commissioners at the first taxing district for allowing us to put the container on their property and so quickly. So we were able to do that. It didn't take up a lot of space. It basically takes up like one parking space, but that was very convenient for us so that we don't have to store all of our items over at DPW and run back and forth between the library and DPW to get things like our lawnmower or snow blowers, just the different things. And we also have a little bit of storage because we have no storage basically in either library. So, and the staff have all been alerted that they need to park in the Yankee Doodle lot. So everybody has updated, either updated or given me their information so that they can park over there. And thanks to the parking authority for allowing those spaces. Staff had some concerns, and I have to say, Jim Travers was very receptive to the concerns. Like I guess they power washed the place. They're looking to have I can't remember the company. It might have been the bus company, but they're looking to have a little more visibility on the first level for safety. What else have they done? They're looking to improve their lighting over there. So they were very receptive, to staff concerns. But at present, staff are not parking in the library, any of the library spots that are assigned for patrons.
Please say thank you from the board for being, to the staff for their, kind of understanding of the situation. Yeah.
So does anyone have any questions on parking?
Sherelle, I'd like to make one comment. I saw today, I left the library around 4 o'clock this afternoon, and just as I was crossing what is the entrance, there was a car from Florida exiting the entrance. And I flagged the man down, and he told me he wasn't familiar, of course, but he had come down off the highway. And when you're coming down past the courthouse, he said he never saw the sign. So I double checked it. The do not enter sign at the exit is actually turned enough that it's facing the post office. And it's very hard for someone who doesn't know our area to make that, and not turn in, because you're turning into a bank exit. And also, when they're making the exit, they're going around the hedge, and they're making an abrupt left turn into oncoming traffic. I mean, people are creating a traffic problem. But I do think the sign alone can just be turned enough advantage so it's facing down or looking up at Belden Avenue. It is true, you cannot see the sign when you're coming down the street. You don't know it's the exit. And only locals, know it's the bank exit.
Gotcha. So you're talking about the first district and the so signage for both entrance and exit.
Yeah, the exit, which is the lane that we both use, and the bank is legal, but it's just the sign's got to be turned slightly to face up the street. Maybe over the years it has just simply turned enough in the ground, and it's actually facing over the post office. But it would be easier it's a small matter, but the sign is there. It just needs to be turned.
Okay. Tom, is that something that you can help with? Because I know it's not library property yet, I've been told. So is that something that you might be able to help with?
I just unmuted myself here. What? No, I heard what was going on, but I didn't catch what it was about.
So it's basically
specifically
the signage at the first district lot, and just making sure that people can actually see the signage for entering and for exiting. So I think as per Ralph, the signage is there, but it needs to be turned the right way.
Tom, when you're coming down Belden past the courthouse, the sign that would say "Do not enter" has turned enough that it's facing across the street at the post office. And the man today who came in the exit, he had Florida plates, but he came in the exit, went out the entrance, and made an abrupt left turn right into oncoming traffic to head back to the highway. So people are getting very creative, but I think it started because he simply could not see the sign. It just needs to be turned slightly.
We got to reorient the sign, or put one up where there isn't one. There isn't one.
So the "Do not enter" sign is there, but the post has turned enough that it's facing across the street. You can't read it coming down Belden.
So it needs to be reoriented, basically.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. Okay. All right. I'll talk to our general manager about it.
Thank you so much, Tom.
Thank you.
Probably tomorrow. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So I think the last thing is the GNLV renovation update.
So the GNLV renovation, I sent pictures. It's definitely underway. You can already see the third room, which is pretty cool, the third classroom. They're anticipating 45 days. So give or take, I'm thinking we should be done by the end of October.
Okay.
And the carpeting, I know Patsy loves that carpeting in the auditorium. It will be the same carpeting, and the walls will be white or off-white. Because the rooms are so small, we didn't want to go with fancy coloring and just stick with the basics.
Sounds good.
Is there any news on the carpeting replacement for the first floor?
So what it will be the same carpeting, but what I'd like to do, with your permission, is to get through at least get through this the GNLV renovation, get the Sono renovation underway, and then begin with both the carpeting and the furniture project.
Why wait to get started? Because it can take, months to order the carpet and the rest of it. I mean, the organization, I don't see any benefit unless it's time constraint that you don't have time to deal with it. But from a project point of view, why put it off?
Part of it is time constraint. The carpet is not going to be an issue because it's the standard carpet so we're not going to have any issue with hold up with the carpet, because it's the same carpet that we use for the auditoriums, the same carpet we're using for GNLV, and it'll be the same carpet for the first floor. So that won't be an issue at all. Cindy and her team, I've asked them to be a part, because they pretty much know how the space is being used. So they will give input and be a part of, the furniture selection and that sort of thing. So my goal, Patsy, honestly, was to get started with that November.
I think November is going to be here before we know it.
For sure.
And we do have a furniture committee. So when Cindy and her team and you are ready to show options and things like that, we can just have the furniture committee look at it and then maybe present it to the board when we're for sign off when we're ready.
Have you established whether or not we have to go through the city's purchasing department for that?
For vendors and furniture, yes.
Yes. Yes,
So we
okay.
have to have
An RFP.
yeah, an RFP. Neil is already, taking care of the carpet, so that's his purview. But I'm looking at WB Mason. They've been very, very good to us. I mean, whoever the lowest bidder is, that's usually what the city goes with. But there are some established people that we do work with, so hopefully they will bid, and we will begin looking at their furniture.
Okay, sounds great. We're gonna have a lot of building and construction and all that over the next few months, so that's exciting.
It's really exciting.
Okay, so let's adjourn and move on to the foundation meeting. Can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I so move.
Second. Mary, all in favor?
Aye.
And we'll see you at the foundation meeting. Thank you, everybody.
And now, very quick.